right, so this week's guitar lesson is an old school blues lead that's played over a minor key jam track. Awesome jam track that was provided by Quist. I'll speak more about that in just a minute, but it's just so much fun to play over. But there's a lot of influences in the lead that came out of this. Now, I just improvised a lead, but there was some Otis Rush stuff that was happening. There was a Buddy Guy thing in there. There was some B.B. King stuff. So we're going to be talking about all those licks as we get into this lesson. I'll explain where they all come from and show you how to play them and put them in context so that you can, just like I stole these licks from those guys, you can steal them from me and learn how to use them right away in your playing. So I've got this lesson split into two parts. In this video, we'll go through the first half of everything. If you'd like to join us for the second half, download this awesome jam track, download the tablature, and also access the on-screen tab viewer. So you get all the lesson materials and watch the part 2 video. You get all these lesson materials for this lesson by going to activemelody.com, go to the weekly lessons page, and search for EP600. So we're at the 600th lesson, and so what we're doing this week, I mentioned that Quist made the jam track, and Quist and I have collaborated on lessons in the past. I always like working with him because his jam tracks are just so good. So if you like this jam track, you definitely want to follow his YouTube channel or his Spotify channel, or both. And I'll put links to all of that in the description below, so wherever you're watching this, you'll be able to follow him. But definitely check him out. I think he's the best out there, and I don't follow a lot of jam track creators, but Quist is such a stellar musician. He's an incredible guitar player. He plays keyboard. He does it all. And so thank you, Quist, for providing the jam track this week. I think this is going to be, it was fun for me to play over. So what I did was I just got it today and I just improvised. I did several different versions. Some of them sucked and some of them were okay, and I sort of settled on one, and that's what we're going to break down. And so now I mentioned this was EP600. Normally I take every 100 lessons that I do, I take the week off, but it just so happens that next week, as I'm recording this, next week is Christmas, and I thought it would be better to take next week off and have Christmas off as opposed to this week. So I wanted to just get this lesson out. I'll break the protocol a little bit, and so next week I actually will be skipping and not creating a lesson next week. I'm just going to spend some time decompressing, spend some time with my family, but I'll be right back. I will still be running the business. I'll be answering emails, doing support stuff, all that stuff. I just won't be creating a lesson just for next week. Okay, so the jam track that we're going to be playing over, the Quist jam track that we got this week, is a minor key jam track that's got 3 chords, basically. It's just a 1, 4, 5. You can think of it that way, but each one of those is minor. So a minor, it's in the key of B minor as well. So the 1 chord is a minor, so it's a B minor. Then we go to the 4 chord, which is minor, so it's an E minor. And then the 5 chord is an F sharp minor. So those are the 3 chords we're going to be playing over. Let's listen to this first little phrase, and then we'll talk about what's going on. Okay, so as I mentioned, we're in the key of B minor, and so that first chord is a B minor chord. And what I played was, and honestly, it was kind of an accident, that open E string, but what I was thinking about when I played that was my B minor chord. I like to, if I know the chord, I like to kind of just arpeggiate the chord or hit the chord tones just to sort of get the ball rolling to start. I didn't want to start right into, doing something, in a sort of lead sounding way. It's kind of nice to sort of ease in. There's a little tip for you. You don't always want to go out of the gates like sounding like a lead player. Sometimes it's nice to kind of follow along with the jam track almost. So if you think about your B minor chord here, in this position, using your A minor shape, these 3 fingers are like your A minor, slide it up 2 frets, capo with your index finger. And if I look at just the top 3 strings, I have this little shape. It's a stair step shape. 2nd fret, 1st string, 3rd fret, 2nd string, 4th fret, 3rd string. Now when I played that, I went, so I lifted my index finger, hit the open E string, and then I put my index finger down for that note. And then I went like this, and came up and hit this little triad. That's just another B minor. So all I did was I thought about my B minor here, and then I'm thinking about B minor chords, chord voicings on the neck. And I've got my B minor chord up here on the 7th fret. That's where you would bar. This would be like your E minor shape. So think of your E minor in first position. If you were to play it all the way up here, capo with your finger or bar with your finger, you'd be playing like this. Now, you don't have to play the whole thing. You can just play the triad, just the top 3 strings. And you get that sound. So we've got a triad here, which is a B minor, and a triad here. So, and I slid into it like that. And I just kind of shook my finger back and forth to give it some vibrato. You can use a tremolo for that if you have one of those. So this next lick comes in right on the 1 of the next measure. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And that gets us to our 4 chord, or our minor 4 chord, which is our E minor. So it's 1, 2. That's the lick we're going to look at. Now this is just minor pentatonic scale, pattern 1. That's where these notes are coming from. So we're starting with that top note there, that 7th fret 1st string. And I was thinking B.B. King for that. That just has a B.B. King kind of, I was kind of even trying to do the B.B. vibrato, the best I can do it anyway. And let's look at that lick. After that, you hit that note, you count it for 2. 1, 2. We're going to come down to 10th fret 2nd string. And we're going to go 10, 7, and then we're going to go to the 9th fret 3rd string and do a full bend. So it's, now let's look at the next 3 notes. So now we're going to go 9th fret 3rd string without the bend, down to 7, 9th fret 4th string. So we have, now this is where the song goes to the 4 chord, or our minor 4 chord, which is that E minor, and I went, and then I do a hammer on between the 7th fret and the 9th fret on that 3rd string. And that 9th fret is the E note. So I landed on the E note as we go to the E minor chord. It's a perfect note to land on. Now, the truth is, I wasn't thinking about that being an E. I just had the sound in my head. I was really just staying in the key of the song, so I wasn't even really trying to match the chords on this little piece of it. I was thinking about just my minor pentatonic scale, my B minor pentatonic scale, which is the minor pentatonic scale for the key of the song. And I know that I can go on that 3rd string. I know that that note is your 4 chord. It doesn't matter if it's major or minor. I can land on that note, and that'll be a safe note. For the 5 chord, you can land on this note. So make a note of this. You've got your 1, your 4, and your 5. Those are safe notes to land on as you go to your 1 chord, 4 chord, and 5 chord. There's other ones, obviously, but just wanted to point that out as we're here. So it's, that's the lick. Now, after I hit that E note, I went like this. This is my Otis Rush lick here. Now let's look at what's going on there. It's a stair step shape. So it's 7th fret 1st string, 8th fret 2nd string, 9th fret 3rd string. Stair step shape, we just talked about one down here, right? We used that same shape when we played over the 1 chord. Remember we played for that B minor down here? So there's my B note. I can come up to my E note on that 5th string. Same shape is now representing my minor 4 chord. You can go up 2 frets from there. There's your 5 chord. Back to your 4 chord. So anyway, that's where this little arpeggio came from, just playing the top part of that chord. So now we're going to go into this Buddy Guy kind of thing. This is a Buddy Guy kind of like... This whole bending a note and then releasing it, he does that quite a bit, and I'm sure that's where I got that idea from. So it's all happening between the 7th fret and the 9th fret on the 3rd string. And again, I'm just playing minor pentatonic scale pattern 1 for the key of the song, the B minor pentatonic scale. I'm just staying in the key of the song. So it's a full bend on that 9th fret 3rd string, release, and a pull off to the 7th fret 3rd string. And then I do 2 more bends, 2 or 3, it'll be in the tabs. So it's a full bend there on that 9th fret 3rd string, and this is where I release that note. So just keep releasing the tension on that 9th fret 3rd string until I come to this note, which is my E note. Now after that I went. So that's a fun little lick here that sort of is a tag to the end of that. So once I get to that E note, 9th fret 3rd string, we're going to go down the 7th fret 3rd string, down to the 9th fret 4th string, then 9th fret 3rd string, back to the 9th fret 4th string, and then 7 on the 3rd string, 9 on the 3rd string. So it's a little cycle there between that 9th fret and 7th fret. So it's like this. So just practice doing that. It's alternate picked with the right hand. And then to come out of that, watch this. Isn't that cool? That goes to the 5 chord, which is our F sharp minor chord. That last note that I played in that lick that I showed you, there was on the 9th fret 3rd string. I can slide that up 2 frets to the 11th fret 3rd string, and then watch this. I can make that same stair step shape to represent my 5 chord, my minor 5 chord, which is our F sharp minor. Looks like that, right? I keep coming back to this little shape because it's my minor, it's just an easy minor triad, and it's on the top 3 strings. And that's something Otis Rush would do a lot. And so I got that idea from him. So after this, we go into that lick and then we walk that down chromatically, just down 2 frets. Down to here, which is my 4 chord, and it's following the chord in the jam track. So we go from our F sharp minor to our E minor. And here's another little Otis Rush lick. Isn't that cool? That's just minor pentatonic scale pattern 1 for the key of the song, B minor pentatonic scale, and we're playing on the top 2 strings. Those are the notes we're working with. So I'm sliding into that 7th fret 2nd string, 7th fret 1st string. We come up to the 10th fret 1st string with a little bit of a push sharp. And then we're going to go 7th fret 1st string down to the 10th, down to the 7th on the 2nd string. So now watch this. So when I did that, it was 7th fret 1st string, and then I come to the 10th fret 2nd string and do a full bend with vibrato. And I'm matching that note that I just hit. That's a hard thing to do. Trying to get that vibrato right. I spent a lot of time working on that. But if you can't do the vibrato, just try and do the bend. You can get away with the bend. Or if you got a tremolo, you can do it that way. There's lots of different ways you can achieve that goal. So after I played this little tag that leads us to the 5 chord, which is our F sharp minor. All played in the minor pentatonic scale pattern 1. We're still using those same notes. But look which note I landed on. I mentioned this at the beginning of this video. You've got a safe note to land on for your 5 chord, and that's exactly what I did, was this note. So 1 chord, a little recap, 1 chord, that's a safe note to land on. 4 chord, that's a safe note to land on. 5 chord, that's a safe note to land. Just file that away. So that way you can do whatever you want, but just land on that note. So that's the lick there. So as you can see here, other than that little stair step arpeggio, which I used over the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord, Everything else was minor pentatonic scale pattern 1. These notes. Just the top 3 strings, basically. And I'm only mentioning that to say that you don't have to get bogged down in modes and scales and arpeggios and chords and finger drills and all the things. That's not what Otis Rush did. I guarantee, I'm sure he was obviously very knowledgeable, but I bet he played what he felt, and he spent more time with the notes, the vocabulary that he had. And I think that's true of all these blues guys. That's why what they played moves you, because they're not getting bogged down in the things that we tend to do. A lot of times we tend to we want to practice something, so we'll go through a drill or we'll set a metronome. But sometimes you've just got to just sing with the notes you know. There's the arpeggio. So my point is, you can make a lot of music with just a few variables, just by trying to think about how you would sing, how would you make it sound if you were bending or slurring into a note or vibrato and all of those things. That's what it's all about. It's like trying to get to that point. You can get more advanced down the road, but that's where a lot of your heroes, I think that's the headspace they were in, is they were just trying to sing with their fingers. All right, we'll see you in part 2, where we'll go over the second half of this. If you like this lesson, by the way, leave a comment, let me know. I always appreciate it. It means a lot to me and helps me understand sort of what's working, what isn't. If you got a question, you can leave that too. Now here's a sample of the part 2 video. I'm gonna kind of go out with that and let you hear that. Come join us for part 2 if you're interested in that.